Welcome to GODSpeed, where truth meets life in under 10 minutes. I'm AK, and this is hope for your journey.
What do you do when you have an issue? A problem you've been dealing with for so long that you've stopped telling people because you're tired of hearing advice that doesn't work. When you've tried everything but nothing has changed. Do you give up? Do you accept that this is just how life will be? Or would you reach out one more time for something or someone you haven't tried yet? Today, Jesus and his disciples are on their way to help someone with an emergency. But there's a large crowd surrounding them on every side. And in this crowd, there's a woman who's been privately suffering. She hears that Jesus is passing through and that he's different. And we'll pick up the story there. This comes from Mark chapter 5, verses 25 through 34. A woman in the crowd has suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding. She had suffered a great deal from many doctors. And over the years, she had spent everything she had to pay them. But she had gotten no better. In fact, she had gotten worse. She had heard about Jesus, so she came up behind him through the crowd and touched his robe. For she thought to herself, if I can just touch his robe, I will be healed. Immediately, the bleeding stopped, and she could feel in her body that she had been healed of her terrible condition. Jesus realized at once that healing power had gone out from him. So he turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my robe?" His disciples said to him, "Look at this crowd pressing around you. How can you ask, 'Who touched me?'" But he kept on looking around to see who had done it. Then the frightened woman, trembling at the realization of what had happened to her, came and fell to her knees in front of him and told him what she had done. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. Your suffering is over." The faith of the woman in that story gives me hope. And if I were to quickly summarize this whole message, if you stopped listening right here, it's to know there's hope for you as you reach out in faith. Because private suffering weighs us down. See, this woman suffered for 12 years. And to give historical context, in this time period, whenever a woman dealt with this sort of issue, apart from her period, she was considered unclean. And by religious law, she was called to stay away from all gatherings and to not touch anything or anyone. And so over a decade of trying everything, spending everything, and getting worse instead of better, she was still being isolated from the community. And suffering is exhausting, but even more so when you have to do it alone. It's expensive emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, and it's not effective. Suffering in silence doesn't protect us, it isolates us. And this woman had every reason to give up. 12 years of disappointments. But when she heard about Jesus, she still had faith to say, let me try one more thing. And I think about 2 times in my life where I've had physical injuries that took away my ability to walk for months at a time. And I'll tell you, my prayers and my doubts have never been stronger than when I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet. Because when you're in that place, you start Googling recovery timelines, you go on Reddit trying to predict your healing, and it doesn't help. Trust me. The inability to walk for me meant dependence on strength outside of my own, care outside of what I could provide for myself. In that vulnerable, dependent place, it presents the ingredients for both bitterness or blessing. You can become angry that you need help, or you can learn to receive the love that can come when you're in no position to demand or earn it. And thankfully, like that woman, I've experienced the latter. I've seen the kind of care you can receive when you can't do anything for yourself. When people do good to you, not because you've earned it, but because they love you. And that's what this woman experienced when she reached for Jesus. And do you know that you matter? Something that excites me about this story is that Jesus knew. With a crowd of people pushed against him from every side, he felt one woman's touch. And he stopped everything to be present and to find her. Your life is not just one amongst many. You're not a nameless, faceless voice or a random hand that's outstretched. Jesus knew the unique touch, and he knew her story. He understands pain, and he knows how long you've been carrying it and what it's cost you. See, that woman thought she would slip in, touch his robe, and disappear unnoticed. But Jesus wouldn't let her stay anonymous. Not because he wanted to embarrass her, but because he wanted her to know that she mattered, that in her suffering she was seen. And there's a unique fun fact about this because he calls her daughter. And in this story, it's the only one in the Bible where he uses that word. Not woman, not person, but daughter. To tell her she belonged, that she was known, and that she was loved. And I want to end with the same encouragement that I started with. Keep hope. Because this woman proves that you can wake up one day feeling hopeless and in that same day being healed. And notice how fast her actual situation changed immediately. The bleeding stopped. She felt it in her body instantly. This woman went in only hoping to touch a small piece of something connected to him. And yet she had a personal interaction. Her act of faith, one touch, shifted everything. And so if you've tried everything, and yet the question lingers of what can you do to get cured? I repeat Jesus' truth to you and to myself. Your faith has made you well. Go in peace. Your suffering is over. Not your suffering might end someday, but your suffering is over. It is done. It is finished. And whatever you've been carrying privately, whatever you've tried to fix on your own, and has cost you more than you could afford to give, bring it to Jesus. Reach for him. Your faith, even if small, can make you well. And the same Jesus who stopped for one woman in a crowd will just as surely stop for you. God, thank you for restoring all that is broken in me. Help me to reach for you and remind me that I matter to you. Amen.
I will always love you how I do. Let go of a prayer for you, just a sweet word